Yeah, I like my women how I like my coffee. I hate coffee.
Hey there, kiddos, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Uncle Frank, looking like I just escaped from a 1980s music video. Hoping you guys are having a great day, and in today's video, I'd like to sit back in my very squeaky chair, relax, and have a little conversation with all of you guys about how most people don't really understand how markets work, and that the scalper word is just a bit overused. Today we're talking about a completely hypothetical situation that definitely did not happen to me at any real point. Especially not a few days ago, where I was theoretically having a conversation with an individual about selling some booster boxes to this guy. I have some booster boxes I'm considering parting with just for the right price tag, and we were discussing, theoretically, which ones were up for sale and what price points I would be interested in selling them for. And so eventually the conversation got around to this. My last Paradox Rift booster box, which I wasn't aware of until earlier today. But yeah, this is my last Paradox Rift box. Oops. But as the conversation got to Paradox Rift, a booster box that, keep in mind, I bought this for like, I bought all of my P-Rift boxes for, I think, the exact same price, $91. Good stuff, good stuff. I was quite firm on taking, I was trying to get $260 for it. I would accept $250 though. It has been on the rise again. Most Pokemon products are, because Pokemon is in the eternal hype cycle that it is. The theoretical individual asked me if I would accept $200 for it. And I theoretically responded with absolutely not. The lowest I would go is $250. This theoretical individual then theoretically informed me that I was a theoretical scam artist, a scalper, and that he was just going to get it for $200 elsewhere because he saw it for $200 not that long ago. And that was basically the end of the purely fictional conversation. Because there's no reason whatsoever to do business with someone who's going to just casually insult you while discussing business, right? So let's talk about just the kind of people out there who don't understand how business and finance works, and don't understand how markets work for cards, sealed, singled, or otherwise. Because you'd see it all the time. It's not just with this specific purely fictional example, of a rude person who would never really exist in real life, because no one's that rude in real life. You see it all the time where someone, the joke goes around on Facebook Marketplace a lot. I know what I've got. And they put up a bunch of cards that ain't worth jack or diddly, and they want some absurdly high price tag for them. You see it with people who are very quick to rush to the scalper word, the wonderful scalper word. It's definitely not overused. When it comes to anything that is above MSRP on the secondary market, regardless of how long it's been since that product was actually in print. For example, Scarlet Violet Base, Paradox Rift, etc. Not everything is cut and dry, black and white. There are various factors and changes that can dictate the current market price of a card or a product, like a sealed box or a pack or whatever. Sealed booster boxes tend to be more desirable than the total sum of the packs inside. Because packs are easier to get, boxes ain't. Once boxes are cracked open, you ain't getting them sealed again. Simple as. The same basic concept applies to sealed versus open product, period. Once you crack open that pack and look at the cards inside, congratulations, you now have a bunch of singles. You will never get that sealed pack back. It doesn't work like that. You can't travel back in time to when that pack was sealed and hope for the best. And you can't travel back in time to when Paradox Rift was $200 rather than $250, $260. It's just not how it works. Okay? So there's a lot of people out there who will see things like, oh, well, this was such and such price tag not too long ago. Or this has the same number of packs inside as this arbitrary price of the packs. Why is it this price here? Why is it this price now? Well, because things change, or because there's different things in play, different factors in effect determining the value. This happens for sealed, singles, etc. Things change. One little news announcement can radically alter the price of a random Yu-Gi-Oh card on a Thursday afternoon after a ban list announcement. One tournament win can radically change the entire outcome of how one specific flesh and blood card performs in the secondary market. It's crazy, but this is the kind of stuff that happens, and it's the world we live in, where things are constantly going up and down and all around. And sooner or later, you get someone, when you're dealing with this long enough, who doesn't understand that markets are way more fluid than individual pockets are. And they're going to have the, how dare you have a market price different from the one I think I should get. You're going to run into that sooner or later. And when you run into those kind of people, that's the real crux of this video here. If you run into someone who will have the audacity to have a different price tag than you when it comes to business, sure, there's going to be people out there who you can always haggle with. You can always work out a deal or agree to meet somewhere in the middle, especially if, the gains are large enough that it doesn't really matter. I mean, if you bought a booster box for $30, are you really going to care if you sold it for $270 or $280? That's probably an extreme example. If you bought a booster box for $90, are you really going to care if you sold it for $250 or $260? That's a better example. I shouldn't use Yu-Gi-Oh examples. Those never come up. I can't think of a single Yu-Gi-Oh box I purchased that has risen up to $200. Would be nice though. Yeah, but you can always work things out. You can always haggle up and down on prices, work out a deal, work out some trades, etc. Whether it comes to, there's a very loud train in the background. Extremely loud. I want you guys to know I am like 2 miles away from the nearest train tracks. That train is loud as fuck. Just so we're clear, I am very far away from the train tracks. I know 2 miles isn't actually very far. But I digress. Back on topic now that I'm not being distracted. Who am I kidding? I'm going to be distracted again in 20 seconds. You're going to eventually come across someone who's just absolutely gut-wrenchingly sure that their price and their price memory is the way to go, and that you are a jerk, a scam artist, a scalper for daring to have a price that disagrees with theirs. Just don't do business with them. Don't bother with them. Don't engage with them. And it's not just when it comes to price. There's going to be all kinds of bad faith customers. Bad faith. Can't even speak it. Bad faith customers are just a part of the hobby. You're going to have people who feel like being a jerk and demanding that you send them pictures of the card they purchased. And they're going to demand that it's in such and such condition, that you better send them out the right one. There's going to be people who will definitely send you messages on TCG Player or eBay demanding that you package their card in a specific way. And there's going to be people who reach out to you, either in person or online, and try to convince you that you should sell your product to them for a huge discount in some situations, because they can see it for cheaper over here, or it was cheaper a bit ago, a week or two ago, on some other marketplace, some other website, and that you're just being greedy for having a price tag that they don't agree with. And to those people, you can say something very, very simple, okay? If they say, oh, this booster box is 10% cheaper over here, you tell them, go buy it over there. If they say, this booster box was $50 cheaper a month ago, you tell them to hop on their DeLorean time machine, go back in time a month, and buy the box then. And if they call you a scalper, if they have the inclination that you are a scalper for having price tags that are higher than MSRP in the most fervorish, bullish, hypish, whatever word you want to use, Pokemon market ever, you kindly inform them that, yeah, you're a scalper. And you will sell your booster box at scalper prices. Hell, you might even raise it 10% just for them. And then after you're done with your little response, you block them and move on with your life, because they're just not worth doing business with. You don't need to subject yourself to any customer who is going to be vitriolic or toxic or whatever poisonous words you wish to use. You don't need to deal with jerks. You can move on with your life, and I almost guarantee that for every dickwad customer who wants to be an asshole and insult you over prices and be quite rude for literally no reason, you can just move on. I have several times, countless times. And the sale comes regardless, because for every jerk that wants to berate you for your prices, there's someone else a few days later who's going to be more than happy to pay what you're asking. Caveat, as long as you're not actually being a jackass. If you're one of the 3 people in existence who unironically thinks that Paradox Rift needs to be a $600 booster box right now, and you won't sell it for anything less than that right now, when the current market price is under $300, well, then obviously this video does not apply to you. That's my big caveat for the video. Okay? So, that's it. Moral of the story, lesson of the video is, don't do business with the jerks. Don't do business with jerks. It's just not worth it for you or anyone else. Block them and move on. That's all I got today, kiddos. Please like, share, and subscribe. That's 3 things. Jesus, I'm so bad at counting. Leave a comment down below whether you agree with me, disagree with me, or think my bandana looks cool. Of course, check out the Discord, check out the Patreon. See you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Ciao.